the quiet of the morning, when the sun gently slips through the slits of the kitchen window, there stands a wall transformed, not by concrete or steel, but by repurposed plastic bottles nurturing life, a vertical garden, inspired by simple ingenuity. This design begins with observing how nature climbs and leans into the light. Taking that as a lesson, you can stack plastic bottles, cut open, drained, and cleaned, into a vertical frame along a sunny wall or balcony railing. Imagine each bottle like a cradle, sheltering mustard greens, sawi caisson, as they stretch toward the warmth of the day. No fancy tools needed, just bottles, scissors, strings or cable ties, and a bit of composted soil. Make openings wide enough for air to breathe and roots to spread. Layer each bottle slightly above the other, so watering from the top trickles down gracefully to nourish every plant below. You don't need acres to grow your food. Even a narrow alley or fence wall can bloom into green with just a few reused containers. Caisson is a perfect start. It's resilient, fast-growing, and forgiving. To keep it thriving, water in the early morning or late afternoon, never directly under harsh noon light. Trim the older leaves to encourage new growth, and whisper to your plants sometimes. You'll be amazed how alive they feel. This garden is more than food. It's a small rebellion against waste, a quiet promise that beauty and nourishment can rise from what we once threw away. It invites us to look around with new eyes and a sow, not just seeds, but hope, one bottle at a time. Sometimes the best ideas are born from corners. Corners of homes, corners of backyards, corners of time we thought we didn't have. And in one such corner stands a modest shelf, not store-bought, not polished, just reclaimed from an old crate, standing proud as a foundation of life. Along its frame, rows of plastic bottles lie horizontally, cut, cleaned, and filled with earth. Each bottle holds a promise, now bursting forth in the form of green caisson leaves dancing gently in the morning breeze. This recycled bottle shelf garden doesn't ask for space nor perfection. It thrives in narrow yards, alleyways, or the side of a house where sun kisses the wood for just a few hours a day. That's enough. To build it, gather pieces of old wood, hammer them into tiers with a gentle incline, then fasten horizontally cut plastic bottles into place. Poke a few drainage holes at the base of each bottle, and line the bottom shell with gravel or catch trays to collect runoff. Plant seeds with intention, not rush, but knowing that each tiny speck holds a future harvest. Within a few days, shoots will rise. Within weeks, you'll harvest your own vegetables. The shelf isn't just a structure, it's a stage, a place where waste is transformed into nourishment, where the act of planting becomes an act of remembering that nature doesn't demand extravagance. It asks only for care, light, and patience. In that quiet corner, you'll find more than vegetables. You'll find moments of peace, purpose, and gratitude growing, leaf by leaf, within every recycled bottle. The sun is kind in the morning. It rises gently without hurry. And so should we, especially in the way we tend to life. A bottle, clear and humble, finds new purpose here. Not to quench your thirst, but to quench the soils. Drip irrigation is more than a technique. It's a quiet promise of consistency. In this design, used plastic bottles are inverted, their caps punctured with small holes, just enough to let water escape, not gush. Each drop is deliberate, like poetry written on soil. Place these bottles beside your caisson or leafy greens, neck down into the pot or garden bed. The earth, thirsty and patient, will absorb each droplet with grace. You won't need to worry on warm days or during your brief getaways. The plants will be cared for, even in your absence. This method is ideal for balcony gardeners, where space is a luxury and where daily watering might sometimes be forgotten between chores and the rush of life. You can fill the bottles with plain water or occasionally add diluted compost tea for an extra boost. The beauty lies not just in practicality, but in rhythm, the gentle rhythm of drops, of sustenance given slowly, steadily, and silently. No pipes, no pumps, just gravity and time. And in return, your caisson will grow lush, full of vitality, their leaves firm with life. It's a reminder that even the smallest actions, like flipping a bottle, can carry profound care. In the quiet drip of water, there's a tender language, one that speaks of nurture, simplicity, and a love that doesn't shout but endures. The world of roots is often hidden, quiet and unseen. But in this design, we invite you to watch how life grows from inside out. Through the walls of a clear plastic bottle, nature becomes transparent. The Cracky method, so beautifully simple, requires no pumps, no electricity, just water, nutrients, light, and a place to anchor hope. Start by cutting a transparent bottle near the top third. Invert the top as a neck cup and fill it with a lightweight growing medium, like rockwool or coconut husk. Below, fill the base with water mixed with a gentle hydroponic nutrient solution. Leave an air gap, essential. Roots will drink and breathe through this small allowance. Place your seedling, caisson, ever adaptable, gently into the cup, and then let it be. Watch as roots stretch toward water, dangling like lace through the bottle side. Every few days, you'll see them grow stronger, longer, fuller. No soil, no mess, just clarity of design and of intention. Set it near a sunny window or outside where light is kind but not harsh. Observe the water level drop, not from evaporation, but from consumption. Your plant is alive and drinking. This setup teaches patience. That nourishment doesn't need noise. That roots don't require darkness. And that beauty can be practical. The transparent bottle becomes a teacher. It reminds us that growth doesn't need to be hidden or grand. It can be small, still, and stunningly honest. In your hands, with a few minutes in a repurposed bottle, you've created a living system, a cycle, a balance, a moment of stillness in a world that rushes. On a quiet morning, before the wind wakes and the world stirs, there's a stillness in the garden. And beneath the curve of a plastic dome, cut from a used gallon jug, a miracle begins to unfold. The mini greenhouse is a cradle for seedlings, a warm breath of safety in a world of unpredictable weather. When caisson is just sprouting, fragile, tender, it needs protection not from us, but from the elements. Too much wind, a cold gust, an unexpected rain. They come without warning. A reused gallon container, clear and dome-shaped, becomes an elegant solution. Cut it near the base, creating a shell. Puncture a few holes at the top for air, but not too many. The goal is to hold warmth and moisture, mimicking the earth's embrace. Place it gently over your caisson seedlings in a raised bed or container. Instantly, you build a sanctuary. Moisture lingers longer. The temperature stays just a little higher. Growth uninterrupted. There's something deeply grounding in watching condensation form inside this tiny dome, a signal that life is breathing. The caisson responds. It stems upright, leaves wider, color richer. This isn't just about gardening. It's about seeing potential in the things we discard. A water gallon, once empty, now holds life. It teaches that shelter doesn't need to be expensive, only intentional. You don't need greenhouses with frames and glass. Just a pair of scissors, a container, and care. As days pass and your plants grow stronger, you can remove the dome. But you'll remember the piece of that first shelter, of beginnings nurtured by a little extra warmth. And perhaps, in your own way, you too feel covered by simplicity, by quiet joy, by the magic of reuse. In the silence between sunrise and stirring of birds, something gentle moves through the soil. Not footsteps, not wind, but a thread of water slowly climbing. This is the grace of a wick. With just a bottle, a strip of cotton cloth in your hands, you can create a self-watering system that breathes with your plant. The wick watering method is simplicity woven into design. No electricity, no pumps, just capillarity. Nature's quiet current. Start with a plastic bottle. Cut it into 2 parts. The bottom holds water or a nutrient solution. The top, inverted, cradles your caisson in a small bed of growing medium, cocoa peat, compost, or sponge. Before joining them, thread a cloth wick through the neck. One end submerged in the bottom chamber, the other nestled in the soil above. And then you wait. Like a candle draws wax to its flame, the system draws moisture to the roots. Slowly, consistently, silently. No overwatering, no drying out. Just a steady rhythm that mimics nature's best caretaker, time. The caesim responds gracefully. Its leaves remain taut, its stems upright. It grows with quiet confidence, knowing its thirst will be met before it even asks. This method is perfect for those who travel, who forget, or who simply want to watch a plant thrive in harmony with design. No noise, no fuss, just function hidden within form. And perhaps, while watching a single thread keep life blooming, you'll remember that care doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's a soft cloth soaked in love, feeding the roots beneath. There's a kind of wonder that only lives in the hands of children. A paintbrush becomes a wand. A plastic bottle becomes a canvas. And when both come together, a garden begins. One filled not only with plants, but with laughter and learning. The colorful recycled bottle garden isn't just a place to grow caesim. It's a place to grow minds. Gather empty plastic bottles of all sizes and hand them over to the kids. Let them paint freely. Stripes, smiles, polka dots, or even superheroes. This is their garden, their expression. Once the art is done, cut the bottles open from the side or top, add holes at the bottom for drainage, and fill them with soft, rich soil. Sow the seeds of mustard greens and place the pots along a classroom window, a schoolyard fence, or a sunny porch. Children will wake each day to check if the leaves have grown, if the soil feels dry, or if a ladybug has made a visit. They'll learn about water, sunlight, patience, and perhaps most beautifully, responsibility. But more than that, they'll learn that something once thrown away can become a cradle of life. That beauty isn't bought, it's made with joy, with color, with care. In each bottle there's a story, not just of a plant, but of a child's hand, a shared laugh, a messy desk, and a proud smile when the first green sprout breaks through. Gardening becomes play, science becomes art, nature becomes home, and you, the facilitator of it all, have offered more than a DIY lesson. You've planted memories. Some gardens don't grow on the ground. Some find life in the sky or on a fence kissed daily by the sun. On that humble boundary, where privacy meets possibility, hang rows of bottles, once forgotten, now cradling life. This is a garden for the vertical dreamers. Each bottle, hung with wire, twine, or cloth string, becomes a tiny cradle for herbs and leafy greens. Basil, mint, caesim, they flourish in these gentle pockets, just as they would in the richest soil below. To create your own, select plastic bottles of similar size. Cut them open along one side to form planting beds. Make drainage holes beneath and thread your chosen hanging material through holes on either end. Secure them tightly to a fence, wooden, metal, or bamboo, as long as it receives partial to full sunlight. The effect is striking. A living fence. Green life cascading down the boundary of your home, fluttering with the wind, rustling softly like whispered gratitude. This setup is perfect for those with limited space, urban balconies, tight terraces, or back alleys. It adds beauty and function to what might otherwise be in used vertical space. Watering becomes a gentle routine, a quiet check on each bottle, watching for new leaves, checking moisture, harvesting the scent of fresh herbs. You become familiar with each plant, not in rows, but in rhythm. And the fence? It transforms. No longer a barrier, but a trellis of generosity. The bottles teach us that boundaries can hold growth, that something made to carry liquid can now carry life, that even walls can bloom. Let your fence wear green like jewelry. Let your herbs dangle and sway with pride. Let your balcony speak in leaves. In a forgotten backyard corner or along a plain courtyard wall, a quiet transformation begins. One pallet at a time, stacked in staggered layers, weathered wooden pallets become terraces of possibility. And nestled within their rows, plastic bottles, cut, cleaned, and reborn, hold not just soil but promise. This is the essence of a tiered vertical garden. Height over width, abundance without land. A tribute to ingenuity when space is scarce. Start with pallets, reclaimed from warehouses, workshops, or neighbors who no longer need them. Position them firmly, leaning against a wall, or joined into a standing frame. Then line each level with plastic bottles, secured using nails, cable ties, or rope. Each bottle becomes a cradle for caesim, spinach, or even strawberries. The result? A cascade of greens, leaves spilling downward in playful layers. roots stretching quietly into moist soil. And above it all, sunlight dapples through, gently nourishing each level. Maintenance becomes a ritual. Water from the top tier trickles down, feeding not just one but many. You move from one row to the next, touching leaves, trimming edges, feeling the rhythm of a living wall. This garden becomes a painting. Its brushstrokes made of light, texture, scent, and breath. And the materials? Once discarded. The pallet that once held cargo. The bottle once bound for landfill. Now they hold life. There's a serenity in its design, the kind that teaches patience and intention. Each layer reminding us that growth doesn't have to sprawl. It can rise. That even in constraints, nature finds ways to flourish. And in this tower of life, built by your own hands, you'll find pride, beauty, and the quiet triumph of reuse. In the heart of the home, where meals are crafted and laughter often begins, a humble plastic bottle rests on the kitchen sill. But it's not just resting, it's growing. This is a self-watering planter. Simple, elegant, built from a clear plastic bottle. Sliced in two and rejoined in harmony. Water below, life above. The bottom holds a reservoir of clean water. The top, inverted like a funnel, cradles your caisson, planted in a soft mix of compost or cocoa peat. A wick, threaded through the neck, acts like a silent lifeline, drawing moisture gently from the reservoir to where roots await. Never too much, never too little. Placed near a sunny window, the planter bathes in gentle morning light. You'll see the green begin to thicken. The stems grow sturdier. The leaves turn glossy. Signs of steady care. Even in your busiest days, you no longer need to worry if you forgot to water. The bottle remembers for you. This method suits the rhythms of a modern kitchen. It asks for little, yet gives generously. Freshness at arm's reach. A leaf here for your soup, another for your omelet. Each harvest a quiet reward. And perhaps more than anything, it transforms your cooking space, not with gadgets or gadgets, but with something living, something green, something that reminds you that nourishment begins long before the plate. This little bottle, once cast aside, now holds flavor, function, and beauty. It becomes a symbol of what care looks like when it's consistent, not grand. So let your kitchen bloom, not just with aromas and spices, but with leaves that sway gently to the rhythm of light, rooted in water and grown with intention. Beneath every thriving plant lies a silent world, one of roots, breath, and rhythm. While we admire the lush leaves above, true strength begins below. And sometimes all it takes is air, just a little more of it. This is where the micro-aerated bottle pot comes to life. A simple plastic bottle, reborn with small, intentional holes. Not for drainage, but for breathing. These pin-sized perforations along the sidewalls allow air to kiss the soil, to reach the roots, and to keep them dry just enough to avoid rot, but moist enough to stay nourished. To make your own, select a clear or semi-clear bottle. Using a heated needle or a small drill, pierce the sides. 5 to 10 tiny holes spaced evenly around the lower half. Fill it with well-draining soil, compost, and perhaps a touch of sand for balance. Then plant your caisson seedling, gently pressing it into place. As the days pass, you'll notice something special. Sturdier stems, more vibrant greens, and a root system that doesn't smell sour but earthy alive. Why does this matter? Because roots, like lungs, need air. And in tightly packed soil or waterlogged pots, roots can suffocate. These small holes, so easy to overlook, create a microclimate where roots thrive naturally. This design is particularly useful in humid regions, where overwatering is a common garden woe. And yet, it requires nothing more than a needle and your care. Sometimes, the smallest holes bring the biggest changes. A little breath makes room for growth. So let your bottles breathe. Let your roots explore. Let your plants grow not just up, but deep and strong, into a foundation built on thoughtful air. In places where sunlight dances only briefly, between buildings under trees or through narrow balconies, plants often reach, stretch, and strain for light. But what if we could bring the light to them? This planter is not just a container. It's a mirror, a beacon, a way to guide sunlight gently toward the very leaves that hunger for it. Using a clear plastic bottle, you begin with familiar cut, creating space for soil and plant. But then comes a twist. Aluminum foil or any reflective surface is wrapped gently around the shaded side of the bottle. Its purpose? To bounce light back toward your chiasm, ensuring both sides feel the warmth and energy of the sun. This subtle shift can make a powerful difference. Photosynthesis increases, growth becomes balanced. Leaves turn not just toward one source, but flourish in a more even glow. It's a method born from adaptation, ideal for apartment gardens, city balconies, or any nook that catches just a slice of morning light. And the materials? Already in your kitchen. Try it. Plant one chiasm in a regular bottle and one in your reflective design. Watch how the latter fills out. Broader, fuller, greener. The difference may feel small, but nature notices. This project isn't just about technique. It's about empathy. You're not forcing growth. You're assisting it, redirecting something already abundant and offering it with care. And in doing so, you learn something too. That light, when redirected with kindness, can change everything. That a plant, and perhaps a person, can thrive in places once too dim, if only someone takes the time to reflect a little brightness their way. In the hush of morning, before water boils and pans clatter, the kitchen window becomes a theater of light. And there, swaying gently above the sink or sill, bottles dangle, not empty, but overflowing with life. This is your kitchen window hanging garden, a symphony of recycled design and edible green. Using sturdy string or twine, attach cut-open plastic bottles vertically, one beneath the other, like wind chimes that sprout. Fill them with soft soil and Nestle seedlings, chiasm, mint, basil, or whatever greens your dishes adore. Position them where sunlight pours through the window. Let morning warmth hit, the top planter first, filtering slowly to the ones below. As you wash dishes or stir soup, you'll glance up and see a world of green, dancing slightly with each breeze, sipping light. Each bottle is a microcosm, a self-contained patch of earth, a promise of freshness just an arm's length away. Water from the top and let gravity guide your care. The excess trickles down to nourish the rest, creating a cascade of hydration that mirrors the simplicity of rain. And in this suspended garden, something magical happens. Your kitchen becomes more than functional. It becomes alive. You begin cooking not just with hands, but with eyes and heart. You see life growing while you nourish others. No backyard? No problem. No fancy pots? Who needs them? You've turned a common window into a garden, a wall into wonder. The bottles may be humble, but the result is radiant. So every time you lift a spoon, look up, your garden is smiling back. Not all things grow the way we expect. Some hang, some fall upward in spirit, even while reaching downward in form. And sometimes, growth begins with flipping our perspective, literally. Upside-down planting may look unconventional, but it works beautifully, especially for leafy greens like chiasm. Begin with a sturdy plastic bottle. Cut off the base and invert it so that the neck points down. Fill it with light soil, compost, and your chiasm seedling nestled near the capped end. Make a hole in the cap or remove it completely, and use soft sponge or cloth to gently hold the stem as it grows through. Hang the bottle from a beam, pole, or balcony overhang using rope or metal wire. Above, pour water into the open base. Gravity becomes your ally. Water trickles down to the soil, and excess escapes the bottom freely, keeping roots damp but never soggy. The result? A curious and beautiful garden where green leaves dangle like lanterns in the breeze. They sway, catch light, and surprise every visitor who looks up. Why upside down? It saves space, deters ground pests, and can make use of vertical zones you'd never think to plant in hallways, verandas, even kitchen corners. And more than anything, it reminds us that nature doesn't always need to grow in a straight line. It teaches adaptability, resilience, and the quiet art of blooming where others don't expect you to. So next time you plant, try turning the world over. Hang your hopes, let them root above you and harvest from below. In a world that often rushes forward, this design asks you to look up, slow down, and witness a quiet miracle, growing gently upside down. Sometimes boundaries aren't meant to divide. Sometimes they grow. Imagine a fence, not wood or steel, but of bottles. Each one standing upright, like a small pillar of life, not empty, not discarded, but filled with earth, with roots, with something green and growing. This is a recycled bottle fence, a living border, a line that defines space not with walls, but with nourishment. To begin, collect plastic bottles of equal size. Cut off their tops, pierce small holes at the bottom for drainage, and fill them with rich soil. Plant a handful of chisim seeds, just a few, because this design is made for mini greens. Delicate, compact, perfect for quick harvests. Dig shallow trenches or use bricks to line your path or bed, then embed the bottles upright side by side. As they sprout, they begin to look like an army of little farmers, their leafy heads peeking over the rim, proud and full of promise. This isn't just functional, it's artistic. It frames your garden, softens its edges, and turns waste into wonder. And there's more. These mini greens grow fast. Within weeks, you'll be harvesting small bundles perfect for soups, omelets, or sautéed dishes. They're flavorful, tender, and full of nutrients. The fence serves you in silence. It marks your space, feeds your hands, and reminds every passerby that even things once thrown away can rise up, root down, and bloom again. Let your fence speak softly of regeneration. Let it whisper stories of patience and practicality. Let it guide you, not just around your garden, but into a new way of seeing. Because when your boundaries bloom, so do you. Gardening should never be out of reach. It should meet you where you are, standing, seated, steady, or trembling. Because the joy of planting, of touching soil and watching something grow, belongs to everyone. That's why the accessible bottle garden matters. At the heart of it is thoughtfulness. Using simple materials, wooden planks, bricks, or crates, you create a raised platform at a comfortable height. Onto this, you place rows of recycled plastic bottles, cut wide and shallow, easy to reach and gentle to work with. No kneeling, no bending, just a smooth, peaceful surface where the hands of the elderly or mobility-limited individuals can sow seeds, water leaves, and feel the rhythm of nature once again. Each bottle becomes a miniature garden bed. You can plant chisim, basil, or even flowers for color. Use lightweight soil and add drainage holes beneath each bottle so that care doesn't become a chore. The design is more than functional. It's empowering. It offers independence, dignity, and the therapy of touch. The act of tending, trimming, watering becomes a conversation between body and earth. And it whispers, you're still needed, still capable, still rooted. Wheelchairs can roll alongside it. Walking sticks can rest on the table edge. And as the plants rise slowly toward the sun, so too does a sense of peace, of connection. It's not just gardening, it's healing. So build it with love. Place it near a sunny path, a quiet courtyard, or a family patio. Let stories bloom alongside the greens. Let laughter return to the hands that once fed generations. Because everyone deserves a garden, even if it's just in bottles, especially if it is. In a school courtyard where laughter echoes and shoes tap against dusty ground, a garden begins to grow, not just in soil, but in color, in imagination, and in collaboration. The illustrated bottle garden is more than a planting project. It is a mural of young dreams. Each student is given a plastic bottle, not as trash, but as a blank canvas. With brushes in hand, they draw smiling suns, blue birds, stars, their own names. Every stroke of paint is a mark of ownership, of pride. Then, together, they fill the bottles with earth, sowing seeds of chisim or herbs they've only seen on plates. When placed together, on walls, railings, or wooden racks, the bottles form a living gallery. Art and agriculture meet. And suddenly, science becomes story. Teachers find a new way to talk about recycling, biology, and nutrition. Students learn responsibility through watering, joy through growth, and patience through waiting for the first green sprout. They don't just study, they connect. To nature, to their peers, to themselves. The garden grows slowly, like all good things. And with every visit, the children find a leaf a little bigger, a stem a little stronger. They touch, observe, cheer. It's no longer just about plants. It's about seeing that their small actions create visible change. And when harvest time comes, they eat from what they made. not with hunger, but with gratitude. They know where it came from. They were part of its story. In every illustrated bottle, a lesson blooms. And the school, once just brick and chalk, now sings with life, one brushstroke, one leaf, one child at a time. Every garden carries a rhythm, a breath, wet to dry, day to night, sun to shade. But in our busy hands, time often slips away. Watering is forgotten or overdone. The garden waits, quietly. That's where this clever design steps in, a manual-timed irrigation system, using nothing but bottles and intention. It begins with a bottle, turn upside down, fill it with water and attach a simple, inexpensive timer valve, commonly used for kitchen flow or sink controls. You set the release manually. 10 minutes, 30, just enough. When opened, the water drips, drop by drop, into the root zone of your chiasm. Not too fast, not too little. Like the drizzle of morning rain, gentle and nourishing. You can insert the setup beside each plant or create a line using hoses or tubing if you're feeling adventurous. But even the simplest version, bottle and timer only, already solved 1,000 small frustrations. It's perfect for weekend growers. For those who step away for a day or two and still want their plants to feel remembered. It's wonderfully suited for shared spaces too, like community gardens or school projects, where daily visits might not always be possible. The system teaches balance. That control doesn't have to mean complexity. That technology can be kind, even in its simplest form. And perhaps most beautifully, it reconnects you to your plant's tempo. You don't just water them. You tune in, you measure, you adjust, you care with precision, not pressure. So next time you twist a timer and hear the first drop fall, pause. Listen, that's your garden exhaling. It knows you've thought ahead. Every plant listens to the soil, even when we don't. Beneath the surface, where roots drink and breathe, lives a delicate balance. Too acidic and growth slows, too alkaline and leaves pale. But with a little insight, we can learn to listen too. Enter the pH Monitor Bottle Farm, a simple, brilliant way to connect deeply with your plant's silent language. Start with a transparent plastic bottle, cut and filled with soft compost. Before you sow your chiasm seeds, check your soil or water's pH. Use strips or a basic pH meter, both affordable, both revealing. Dip the strip, wait a moment, and match the color. Chiasm prefers a pH around 6 to 6.8. Slightly acidic, rich in organic balance. If the level's off, adjust gently. A sprinkle of lime for acidity, a dash of vinegar or coffee ground for alkalinity. You don't need chemicals, just attention. Insert the pH strip into the soil periodically. Watch, learn. Over time, you'll see a pattern. How the pH shifts after rain, after compost, after sunlight. And with it, how your plant responds. This method is ideal for learners, teachers, and curious growers. It turns gardening into a living science experiment. Children become investigators. Elders become alchemists. And you become attuned. No longer guessing, but understanding. You'll see your chiasm flourish, not just because you watered it, but because you listened, because you created an environment in tune with its needs. And all with a reused bottle, a seed, and a small paper strip. So bend close, read the colors, tend with care, and in time, you'll not just grow food, you'll grow wisdom. Some of the most beautiful systems are the quietest. No motors, no hums, no blinking lights. Just a seed, a bottle, and still water whispering, "I'm enough." This hanging hydroponic bottle garden is an ode to simplicity. It asks for no power, no tubes, no pumps. Only gravity, stillness, light, and time. Using the crack key method, each plastic bottle is cut, filled with nutrient-rich water, and sealed below the roots of a young chiasm seedling. A small gap of air remains between the neck cup and the water, letting the roots breathe even as they drink. The bottles hang from a curtain rod, ceiling hook, or wooden beam by cords, aligned like lanterns in a row, glowing with life. Each plant grows suspended in midair, slowly stretching its roots into the calm. With no electricity, there's no waste, no hum, no heat, just a rhythm of photosynthesis and gravity. Sunlight from a nearby window is all that's needed. The transparency of the bottles offers a peek into the roots world. White and clean, threading through water, a silent performance you can witness daily. This setup thrives in kitchens, balconies, home offices, or classrooms. It's a perfect introduction to hydroponics without the cost or clutter of devices. Ideal for those who seek sustainability, minimalism, or a deeper bond with the natural process. Water is topped up as it depletes. Nutrients can be refreshed gently. Everything moves slowly. Everything lives deliberately. And you, gardener, creator, caretaker, learn that growth can happen even in stillness. That energy isn't always measured in watts. Sometimes it flows from patience, intention, and the warmth of a quiet morning sun.